Let's talk about two of the biggest films that were anticipated for this year. A double feature. I'm talking about Barbenheimer.
Barbenheimer.
Right? And you saw everywhere people like literally dressing up as Barbie or going in the classic World War II outfits to go watch both films same day.
It's the biggest event of the year.
Literally.
Yeah.
Like, and
it for a second.
It was everywhere.
Yeah, it
like,
was.
Like I said, double feature. People would just go watch it back to back, which honestly is kind of interesting because they're like polar opposites.
I know. I think that's what I think maybe that's what drew people a little bit to it. That they get like two completely different experiences out of the two. But yeah, it was definitely like good for those two movies. Like that helped their box office numbers. I'm sure.
I'm sure. I don't know what the exact numbers are, but I'm sure they racked in some cash
for sure.
I didn't get to watch Barbie, but I did watch Oppenheimer. Did you watch Oppenheimer?
I did not watch Oppenheimer.
Well, you missed a lot because it's a long movie.
Yeah.
Christopher Nolan did a great job. It was like 3 hours. I want to say it didn't feel like 3 hours. Lately, these like longer films don't feel like long films.
Yeah, they've been doing a better job of filling the space for sure.
Yeah, and the pacing and stuff. Okay, actually, I will admit the pacing towards the last part of this film did drag on a little, which I'll touch on. I liked Oppenheimer. It's definitely like a big brain film. I'm not gonna lie. There's a lot of physics that goes into it, a lot of politics, science, catastrophe, obviously, with the topic of the film. The father of the atomic bomb, Robert Oppenheimer. It's basically a biopic of his life.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And obviously it surrounds the topic of making the bomb. Yeah. However, it's not just about that. Mm-hmm. There's like this twin parallel kind of story arc between him and then Robert Downey Jr.'s character.
Okay.
What's his?
Is he a lead in the movie, Robert Downey Jr.?
Yeah. He is also a lead. Like I said, there's like this weird parallel where it's a story of Robert Oppenheimer, played by Cillian Murphy. By the way, I mispronounced his name last episode. I said Cillian. I feel stupid, so my apologies to Cillian Murphy. But so Robert Oppenheimer, you get his backstory of when he's younger, he's going to school, right? He goes to Europe to study, and he's learning about physics, and he's really interested in like dying stars, right? And like the astronomy of it. So like what happens to the condensed energy of the dying star, and how much force and energy does it produce and all that good stuff. So this is way before like this whole project happened, before like World War II even starts.
Was this before he was even like a scientist, or
he's like a student?
Okay.
Right. But he is a scientist.
Gotcha.
Right. Profession. I don't remember if he's a professional scientist working on something. I don't think so. But he goes to America to teach a course. I forgot which school it was, but he went to go teach teach a school course on like the dying star, basically.
Okay.
And he gains, like, it's a small classroom, and basically teaching all these students about what it means with the quantum physics and kind of the science behind it. And then next thing you know, Germany invades Poland, and now World War II starts. So then that's where you kind of have him get recruited to create this bomb, because at the time, I don't want to get into the whole history lesson of it, but there's a race between Germany and the US about who's going to create a bomb that could potentially end the world.
Okay. So I have a quick question.
Sure.
You said it's a small classroom, so I know you don't remember the school, but was it a smaller school? It wasn't like one of those big.
No, it was a big school, but he was the only person teaching this specific class.
It was a very like niche class that people took.
So he is the specific person who introduced this kind of topic to the school. Okay. Like no one else was teaching it,
I see.
So he's kind of the one who introduced this kind of course or level of thinking.
Gotcha. Okay.
Science. And then like I said, on the flip side, you have Robert Downey Jr. And his character, he played Louis Strauss. He did a good performance, by the way. And he himself said it's probably one of the best films he's ever done. Okay. And I'm like, are you sure? Have you seen Avengers? you don't remember doing Endgame?
He is him, bro. He's Iron Man.
That's what I'm saying. You don't remember doing that movie?
I am Iron Man.
No, but good for him. He did a good job, good role.
Yeah, that's dope.
I hope he wins something for it.
Really? Yeah, is that good?
Yeah, I really liked it. But however, it did drag towards the end because they're trying to build up this like parallel between the two characters, and there's this like weird tension between Robert Downey Jr.'s character and Cillian Murphy's character, where I don't want to spoil the movie. I know it's kind of been out for a while. But there's this tension between both of them, and it's kind of like a political tension where Robert Downey Jr. is trying to kind of expose Cillian Murphy and Robert Oppenheimer and his identity, and at the time, like, is he a communist? Is he actually a threat to America? Like, is he actually a hero? Should people see him as a hero? There's like this weird backstory to it.
Okay. Did it feel out of place in the movie?
At first, yes, because the way it opens, it kind of throws you into the loop, and I'm like, what is going on? You get introduced to all these generals, all these different political figures, and I'm like sitting there like, who are these people?
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But towards the end of the movie, it all clicks.
Okay.
It all clicks, and then there's like flashbacks to things that were said that didn't make sense that now make sense and connects. Albert Einstein's in the movie.
Yeah.
He looked phenomenal. He looked like Albert Einstein. And it was fun to see him interact with Oppenheimer, because everyone knows Albert Einstein being this famous scientist.
Right.
And he did have part in the whole, process of this bomb.
Interesting. Okay.
So would you like the movie? I feel like you would like it for just the sheer experience of the story.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it gets very political, and especially towards the end, this is what I wanted to touch up on. Something I didn't personally like too much. After the explosion of the bomb and that whole storyline is set, you see like the PTSD that Oppenheimer faces, kind of the repercussions mentally.
Okay.
After they launched the bomb, and he realizes like the destruction that he caused and how he changed the world forever.
Yeah.
Like now that he made this bomb, the world's completely changed.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole thinking is like the second they press this button, it'll never be pressed in history. Otherwise, because if they do press this button in history again, the whole world will end. Basically, everyone's launching nukes.
Yeah.
So not a good thing.
Yeah.
After that storyline ends, then you kind of end it with Robert Downey Jr.'s storyline.
Yeah.
And it's all politics about him trying to get like a seat in the cabinet for the government and how he's going up against Oppenheimer and trying to showcase again, like I mentioned, how he's kind of a threat to America. They shouldn't clear his like security access for him to actually be part of the government in different projects. So
it sounds like a lot was going on.
A lot is going on.
I know there's a big cast, and obviously it's a Christopher Nolan film, so like you're gonna have a big cast.
Yeah,
it's a grand film.
Yeah, Yep.
Epic. It's one of those epics.
100%
for sure. I heard that it did not have like a ton of almost no humor in it. Was that true?
There's some humor. There's nerdy humor for sure.
Okay.
There's also humor in the fact that like some of the I don't know how do I explain it. There is very little humor.
Gotcha.
It is a very serious movie.
But
there are parts where you laugh. I think
it's hard to have humor in a movie with such a sensitive subject like that.
Right.
I was just curious though, because just when I go to the movies, I guess.
Yeah.
If I'm gonna sit down for a 3-hour movie, I need to know that I'm gonna laugh a little bit, bro. Like I can't go.
Yeah, that's valid.
You know what I mean?
I will admit,
I think that's, and I'm sure people were like, "Oh, he didn't see Oppenheimer."
Yeah.
Like I'm like, and he's a film major.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I didn't. Like I wasn't. I'll wait for a stream, honestly. Like
fair.
On that one.
I mean, honestly,
that's just me. That's just my taste. Totally my taste. Though.
No. I get it.
Yeah.
I think it'll be a completely different experience on streaming compared to in theaters.
Yeah. And obviously there was the IMAX release of it, which did you see it in IMAX?
Not like true IMAX.
Okay.
But like digital IMAX.
Okay, I see. So there was like the whole release of just like it's a beautiful film, obviously, and like
the score's crazy.
Yeah.
The soundscape's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Just the actual experience, like. I'm not gonna lie, like leading up to the bomb, it progressively, every single minute, you get more anxious. There's more tension. So it does lead up to something that's gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
So you constantly have that, like, you feel it. You feel that like sensation.
Okay. That would definitely keep me going.
Yeah. And that's what keeps you like enticed. I felt my heartbeat like going.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh my God. Like,
I could see that for sure. And then you said after the bomb explodes, do you feel like it dragged a little bit after the bomb exploded?
Yes. Just because, again, the film's not about the bomb. It's about his life. So I understand thematically, logically, where they go, the direction it took. I honestly could have done without Robert Downey Jr.'s character.
Which is crazy.
A hot take.
Because you liked his performance a lot. I did
like his performance.
But it does sound like it was a little out of place, maybe. Not out of place, but maybe just like a little too much.
Maybe it was a little too much because I got what I needed after the whole bomb explosion, personally. If they wanted to end it there and then kind of showcase again his PTSD and how he lived life after, without Robert Downey Jr., I would have been happy. Mm-hmm. Okay, the movie could have been maybe another 45 minutes, like shorter.
Mm-hmm. That's quite a bit.
It is quite a bit.
Yeah.
But I understand why they did what they did and the route they took with his character. There is parallels to it, and you see it. again, once you watch it, you'll understand. I'm sure the people that watched it. So, and I have been seeing a lot of opinions as to why people didn't like it, and it was for that specific reason, kind of the ending. Mm-hmm. And another thing people didn't like is the actual explosion itself. Because it leads up to this huge grand thing, and you do see the explosion and whatnot, but might have been lackluster in a lot of people's eyes.
Really?
Yeah, it's interesting. So once you see it, I'm sure you'll have your own take. And
yeah, I definitely am curious to see it. I do want to see it. But I did not see it in theater, so I did miss out when it came to that. But again, it is kind of hard for me to bring myself to see a 3-hour movie where I'm like probably just gonna be like, oh man, this is a lot, and just kind of like dread, you know. Probably was there a sense of dread in the theater?
There was moments where everyone's quiet, and I'm like, man, like this is actually this is sad, dude,
for sure,
seriously. But something that should be highlighted is the cast. Crazy on the cast. Like I got it pulled up right now. Like obviously Cillian Murphy, Florence Pugh, Robert Downey Jr. You have Emily Blunt, Matt Damon, bro. You have Rami Malek, who played in Queen, Bohemian Rhapsody, Freddie Mercury. You have Josh Peck from Drake and Josh. Like you have all these people. You had Roderick from the Diary of the Wimpy Kid,
legendary.
Like, you just a crazy cast. Like you had so many people on here that like. The cool thing about watching this in theaters is like seeing these people and pointing it out, like, oh, dude, that's that guy, or that's this guy, like that guy's in this movie. Or it was a good collaboration, and
that was fun.
Although it seems a little random with the specific people they picked, I think it made it good.
Yeah, I mean, if you got that kind of budget where you can kind of, you know, throw the money around to get like these big name actors for these smaller roles, just for the fact that like it's a cameo kind of thing, why not do it?
Yeah, why not?
So,
and it was fun.
Yeah, I'm sure it would enhance the experience for me too.
Dude, seeing Josh Peck like going to push a button or like working on
was he the one pushing the button? He did not push the button. Oh my god!
I shouldn't have spoiled it for you.
That's insane. I don't even want to go into that. That's funny.
He pushed the button.
That's great. I'm like a little lost for words on that one, because like the fact that Christopher Nolan gave Josh Peck
the role of
the button pusher,
and he's looking at Oppenheimer like, now, and Oppenheimer like,
oh my god,
and Josh Peck's in there like thinking like Megan and Drake are behind this or something.
Megan.
So it was funny. There's humor like that where I was laughing because it wasn't an intentional laugh, but it's funny in that way. I see what you mean now. So I'm saying like, what is going on? So,
wow, dude, that's funny. I'm really glad you told me that. Actually.
Yeah, it was a good time. But I didn't watch Barbie, something I did want to watch.
Yeah.
How was the experience?
Yeah, me and Mackenzie went and saw it. Mm-hmm. We were a little later to watching it, but we saw it with a decently good sized audience still. Okay. And so yeah, there was a lot of hype around like Barbie and Oppenheimer, 1000%. And just as much for Barbie as Oppenheimer, and probably I think Barbie beat Oppenheimer a little bit. I mean, it's more of a, you know, family friendly film that maybe a little more people are into. But
let me look this up.
It was a really good film. It was by Greta Gerwig, I believe.
Okay,
I should have looked this up while you were talking, but. So it starts with Barbie, played by Margot Robbie. Okay. And she does an amazing job as Barbie. Like, you would think that, like, you know, she's supposed to be this character that's like the stereotypical Barbie. Like, they have all these Barbie characters. Like, they have, like, volleyball Barbie or, you know, tennis Barbie or, like, accountant Barbie. You know, they have all these, like, different people playing these different Barbies. And Margot Robbie plays who is the stereotypical Barbie, like the original.
So all these other Barbies are different actresses, different.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then you have Ryan Gosling as Ken, who,
of course,
I mean, that's a great duo to put onto the screen. I think I really love Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling. I think Ryan Gosling brings humor every time. I think he's super funny. And Michael Cera plays this character named Alan, who's like
Michael Cera's in the movie.
He's in the movie too. Who plays like. His name's Alan, and he's like Ken's best friend in like the lore of Barbie, but like he's kind of like this misfit in the world. Yeah. So it really does open up on this Barbie world where you meet all these Barbies and all these Kens. There's a bunch of different Kens too, you know, same like soccer Ken. Yeah. Same kind of thing.
Makes sense.
So it's this whole Barbie world, and it's like everything's so like, you know, lollipops and rainbows, you know. It's like, oh, let's have a party at Barbie's place. Yeah. Like, we're going to party at Barbie's place tonight. Oh, what are we doing tomorrow? Same thing. Like, it's kind of like that. Okay. And they kind of have this idea that they're like these people that have put this like amazing, I guess, stamp on Earth. It's like there's Barbie world and there's Earth, and they know they have like this influence on Earth, and they think that they've like just kind of like completely smoothed over anything having to do with like feminism and everything on Earth, you know? But then Barbie gets transported, or she goes on a trip to Earth because Ken takes over. Or wait, how did Mackenzie? Why do they go to Earth in the first place? Oh, yeah, she starts to get actual feelings. She starts to have like these thoughts of like, have you guys ever thought about dying? Like there was a scene where like they're just like randomly partying, and she's like, do you guys ever think about dying? And like everyone stops her, like, what are you talking about? And she's like, nothing. Like, so she starts to get these weird intrusive thoughts.
Yeah.
So that's what kind of like.
What's that due to though? Or they don't really explain?
Well, so they do kind of explain. So that kind of like, thank you, Mackenzie, for pointing that out. So that kind of pushes them into going to Earth, because she finds out when she goes to Earth, and Ken comes along for the ride because he's like her like kind of puppy dog kind of guy, I guess, you know what I mean? Like he's like the guy that's like I don't know, he's just like, oh, Barbie, like I want to be with you, like please, Barbie, like he's like on his hands and knees begging all the time, and it's like it was a funny portrayal for sure. So they go to the real world, and Barbie realizes that not everything is how it seems, like how they think it is from Barbie land. They think everything like feminism is solved. They think everything is all good over here. They think, you know, and they think that the Barbies are a big influence of why that is. But when Barbie sees that that's not the case, she's like, oh crap, like this isn't like, she starts to get like, she realizes things, you know. But when Ken is in the real world, he's like, oh, this is so dope. Like men are taking over here. Like, men got it good over here. Yeah. So it's kind of, it definitely has a very like, you know, prominent message in the film.
Yeah, I was about to say that. Sure. Yeah,
for sure. And I think it is a good message. And I think it all comes full circle in the end. Cause like, I don't want to spoil it too much. I don't want to get into the story because it's been out for a long time. I don't want to take too much time on it. Fair. But Ken basically like goes back to Barbie Land, and he's like revolting. Like all the Kens get together. They're like, we're going to take over Barbie Land. Like bros, dudes, you know, they're having beers. They're wearing cowboy hats for no reason. And they're just like
just a bunch of icks
wearing chaps and stuff, bro. That
sounds funny.
It's kind of fun. It definitely is a funny concept. And I think it's a good story of, you know, trying to solve feminism and just pushing this idea that like women don't need to be perfect, you know, they're like this image, you know, and it does have a really good story. And I think that it really all does come together. So
you're saying that this agenda, this like message that they had, it was transparent. It did show like
definitely. I would say more so I mean, it obviously is a Barbie movie, but that was definitely what was pushing in the film. For sure. And I think it's a good message for you know, younger girls and stuff. And definitely, obviously, but what I had a problem with, I think, not a problem with, but what I was expecting was to be laughing like a ton in the movie. And honestly, I wasn't like laughing out loud. Like I was laughing out loud a little bit, but it wasn't like belly laughing, you know?
I see.
It was like chuckles here and there. But when I heard a Barbie movie with Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling were coming out, I was expecting to laugh a lot. And I didn't laugh like a ton.
Yeah.
That being said, it was a solid movie though.
It was?
Yeah.
Was it a longer movie?
It wasn't too long. It was like less than 2 hours, and it's by Greta Gerwig, who did a great job. She definitely took it a direction that I think made it like a film that people would talk about more, honestly.
I see.
Yeah.
See, it's crazy because I didn't watch Barbie, right? And I honestly didn't even know that kind of this whole feminism topic was actually introduced into the film and was a big prominent role. It wasn't until like one of my coworkers actually mentioned it, and they're like, "Oh, I'm not gonna go watch this movie because of this and that." I'm like, "Whoa, what?" I started seeing a bunch of controversy on the film. I don't know if you saw any controversy, especially on like Twitter and stuff. Social media.
People were kind of not wanting to watch it because of the message being pushed.
Exactly. They're like boycotting it or like going against the film.
Yeah, which is kind of ridiculous to me to like not, because like every movie has a message.
Sure.
Like there's always like you start one place and then there's a journey to become something else. So
for sure.
there's always growth and a message, but it's kind of, there was a prominent message for sure, and you knew what it was, and they weren't shy about it by any means.
No, for sure.
And I just think it's hard to put myself obviously in the shoes of any, like, but if I was a younger like girl going to a Barbie movie, I would have been like maybe a little confused.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know for sure.
Yeah.
But that's just my take on it.
Okay,
but
fair.
I think it's a good movie. It is a good movie. I just expected to be laughing a little bit more.
Yeah, the fact that it wasn't that funny, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So wait, would you like a must watch? Probably not a must watch. Maybe check it out.
I think people should check it out.
Yeah.
I definitely think it's a movie worth checking out.
Okay.
Definitely. Yeah. It's a good movie. But I think my fault maybe for having some kind of expectations going into it. And it didn't hit but it was good. And Will Ferrell honestly was pretty funny.
Will Ferrell's in the movie?
Yeah, he's like the Hasbro like CEO in the movie. And he's like chasing Barbie around for like no reason really.
Wait, okay, so here's my question. Okay. So you said there's a Barbie world obviously, and then there's Earth?
Yeah.
Like, are they two different planets or
what?
Yeah,
they're like two different planets, and she literally just takes like the road out of Barbie land and then just like ends up in Earth somehow. I don't know how she got there.
So all of Earth knows that there's a Barbie land.
I don't know. I don't know if that would be. I don't think so. No.
But all of Barbie world knows that there's Earth.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So no one from Earth can go to Barbie land?
No.
Interesting.
People from Earth can go to Barbie land? Oh yeah, I guess the Hasbro. Yeah, Will Ferrell did go to Barbie land.
So my question is, how is he conscious on, of the fact that there is a Barbie world?
Well, because he created Hasbro. So like,
okay.
Yeah, it's like a Hasbro.
Yeah. Interesting.
Because
so it's a Hasbro secret.
He tries to teleport Barbie back to Barbie land.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It kind of has. Yeah, it's a different movie, bro. The sets were amazing, though.
Were they?
The sets were amazing. The Barbie sets, they were.
Was there music?
There was music, and it definitely matched the theme for sure. It was fun to watch, like visually, very fun to watch. There was a funny, like random music number by all the Kens. Broke out into dance, and it was random, but it was funny. I thought it was kind of funny. So
valid.
Yeah, I don't know. The Barbenheimer. The Barbenheimer duo, did it live up to the expectations?
I don't know. I'm curious because if I did watch these two films, let's say back to back, I feel like my whole day would have been ruined. Yeah, I'd have two different sets of emotions.
That's how I feel too.
I would be just clocked out.
I would have had to see Oppenheimer first and then Barbie, I think.
I don't know. I would have probably preferred to watch Barbie first.
Yeah.
And then I'd be like, in this fantasy world, and then I go to Oppenheimer. I'm like, wait a minute.
Brings you back to the real world.
Hold on, yeah.
See, I'd rather be brought super deep into the real world where I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe we did this.
Yeah.
And then go to Barbie land like, it's all good.